We've come a long way, I think. A few years ago, it was
Yeah,
controversial to say, "Oh, you're carnivore." But we have come a long way. I mean, certainly on social media now, many more people, including people from the type 1, from my community, type 1 diabetes community,
yeah.
are now entertaining the idea or even experimenting with it of the carnivore diet. So, but Craig, you mentioned we're protein buddies, or we're very pro protein, you and Maria. I'm glad you mentioned that because that was on my list. Now you prioritize protein so much that Maria, and perhaps you as well, actually recommend something called protein sparing fasting.
Yeah.
What's that about?
So protein sparing modified fast, it's not a great name. It's a clinical term that was given to it.
It's quite a mouthful.
Yeah. 10, 15 years ago, when Maria was helping clients lose weight quickly, and if they would stall, she would tell them to do something called a pure protein day. Much better name, in my opinion, but it was really referring to the same thing. And it's later on that we found in articles and papers the term protein sparing modified fast. What it means is you modify a fast. So a water, if let's say you do drink no food, just water for multiple days, 2, 3 days. There you're gonna have some weight, definitely have weight loss, and but all the studies will show that you're gonna lose some muscle too. Okay. And it's depends on how adapted you are. Like if you're already keto adapted, I think the studies say maybe around a quarter pound per day of water only fasting. If you're not keto adapted, you come from standard American diet, the first day or two, you lose like a pound and a half or so. I mean, it's because the body's still looking for glucose, right? And so it's going to, the only place to get it is from muscle to
Muscle.
turn it into
Mhm.
glucose, gluconeogenesis. And so the term modify fast, you modify a water fast to spare protein, spare your body's protein, not the
Mhm.
dietary protein. So you spare the protein on the body, the muscle, by modifying a water fast. Okay, so that's where the term comes from. What's the mechanism? Um, Really, for us, it's coming from that prioritizing protein mindset and a low carb ketogenic approach on carbohydrates. So what's the one thing that's left to change? Fat, right? It's the only dial you have left, right? So uh, what we did early on, and still this day, is we will give them as a tool, just like a tool. A water fast is a tool. You don't tell somebody water fast for 3 months. Like you don't, that's not going to work. You don't want to do that. You do it a day here, 2 days there. Same thing with protein sparing modified fast. You do a day here, a day or two there, and it's a way to speed up your weight loss. It's a way to maintain your muscle, but by dialing the fat down even more in the diet, it forces your body to burn more off the body, right? So by eating even less dietary fat, you're forced to burn more body fat for fuel and lose more body fat. So it's a way to speed up weight loss or to break a stall.
So practically speaking, what would I be eating or drinking if I decided to go on a 24-hour or maybe 36-hour
Mm-hmm.
pro modified help,
Just
help
worry about
help me
it.
with it.
PSMF, that's easier.
PSMF. So what would I be eating or drinking?
Drinking, I mean, water's great. If especially if weight loss is the goal, we tell people don't drink your calories. Don't be drink. You just don't register satiety as well when you drink a shake, or even if it's low carb, or those kind of things. But for food, it's just going to be leaner proteins. Animal proteins primarily. It's going to be. You can have some other things, and Maria. This is where Maria comes in because she's an absolute wizard in the kitchen, and she can come up with things like her protein sparing pudding, where it's this luscious chocolate or different flavor she's got now, pudding that's made from eggs. And the protein sparing version is made from egg whites. And it's amazing. Like it's pudding, right? You could give it to your kid, and we actually have a lot of people that are in this community that want to feed their kids better, but their kids are like aversive to some of the foods. A lot of clients, they'll say their kid wouldn't eat eggs, but they love the protein sparing pudding. So it's a great way to get your kids some healthier food too, which is kind of neat. But there's a lot of, recipes and things, but it's primarily like leaner cuts of meat, your fish, chicken breast, leaner beef like tenderloin, those kind of cuts, maybe some spices and some, one of Maria's, lower fat sauces or something like mustard would be good because that's low carb, low fat. That's about it. So you're really little to no carbohydrates, maybe 20 or 30 grams of fat in the diet, which is enough to absorb fat soluble vitamins and make sex hormones and things you need to do with fat in a day, the essential fatty acids. But that's it, and the rest is protein.
Yeah. So you mentioned the pudding. There's of course Maria's famous protein sparing bread as well.
Yes.
The egg whites or egg white powder, I think she uses.
Yeah, egg whites and egg white protein powder is
egg white protein powder is the other one.
Yeah.